The Honorable Minister Airlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Republic of Indonesia. The Honorable Ms. Celeste Drake, Deputy Director-General, ILO Geneva. The Honorable Professor Anwar Sanusi, Secretary-General of the Ministry of Manpower, Republic of Indonesia. The Honorable Professor Warsito, Deputy for Coordination of Education Quality Improvement and Religious Moderation of the Coordinating Ministry on Human Development and Culture, Republic of Indonesia. The Honorable Mr. Ajar Edi, Director, Government Affairs at Microsoft Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam. The Honorable Ms. Kurnia Sofia Rosiada, Group Head Enterprise Data Analytics, Bank Mandiri. The Honorable Mrs. Simrin Singh, Director, ILO Country Office Indonesia and Timor-Leste. The Honorable Heads of UN agencies, government officials from Indonesian ministries, representatives from embassies, European Union, APINDO, Kadin, representatives of trade union, private sectors, tech startups, financial institution, civil society organization, academia, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We would like to welcome you to the ILO Forum, Artificial Intelligence and Implications on the Indonesian Labor Market Forum. Today we will have discussion with panelists from Ministry of Manpower, Coordinating Ministry on Human Development and Culture, Microsoft, and Bank Mandiri. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for our first session, we would like to invite Ms. Celeste Drake, Deputy Director-General, ILO Geneva, to give her opening remarks. Ibu Celeste, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellencies, Mr. Secretary General, Mr. Deputy, distinguished delegates, guests, fellow panelists, ILO colleagues, friends all. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here in Indonesia for my first mission as the Deputy Director General of the International Labor Organization, and specifically here at this forum on artificial intelligence and the Indonesian labor market, especially at a time when the world is both fascinated by AI and a little bit frightened of it. I would like to congratulate the government of Indonesia on many fronts, including becoming a pathfinder country for the Global Accelerator for Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions, for joining the Global Coalition for Social Justice, and more pertinent to this forum, for making important steps such as the adoption of a national strategy on artificial intelligence, which puts Indonesia ahead of many countries at a time when we're on the horizon of a new economy. Stepping back from the situation in Indonesia, I want to provide a bit of a global perspective on artificial intelligence and specifically on its implications for the world of work, which raises questions for workers and employers about the opportunities and the risks involved, and how to prepare to take advantage of the upside while minimizing the risks on the downside. My remarks will cover three key dimensions. First, the likely impact of AI on job quantity. Second, the likely impact of AI on job quality. In other words, the nature of work and the digital divide. And finally, some insights on policy considerations that should be taken in order to maximize those opportunities and tackle the risks. So let me start with what's getting all of the headlines, and that's the fear of massive job loss. We have witnessed, as technology has developed over time, that certainly as new technologies come in, new jobs are created while other jobs are lost. And it results in some kind of displacement, but we know we can be ready for that displacement and again take advantage of the opportunities. The ILO research should be reassuring to governments, workers, and employers in this regard. We show that AI is more likely to transform jobs than to replace them. In fact, our research indicates that about 2.3% of jobs globally are at risk of being completely automated, but a much larger percentage, 13% of jobs, are likely to be transformed in the near term. And that means we need to be ready with skills. But beyond these aggregate figures, the same research digs in a little deeper and shows the jobs that are most at risk of automation are clerical jobs. And that means that women are likely to be disproportionately affected, and we must be prepared with gender responsive policies that help lift up women in the labor market and make sure that they have training to take on other tasks. Overall, high income countries are more at risk of losing jobs in that 2.3% than middle and lower income countries. But to better understand the broader implications of artificial intelligence on the world of work, we need to unpack the job quality effects, which brings me to the second dimension. And while we don't expect massive job losses, we do expect significant changes in the world of work, how employment is structured, and sometimes the nature of the jobs themselves. And this certainly could have an impact on wages and working conditions. So for workers, job quality can actually be enhanced, especially if it's used to make jobs safer. So for instance, something that's already being employed are robots and other sensors to give an indication if physical labor is likely to harm the person and then do it in a different way or have the robot take over the job. That makes workers safer, that enhances job quality. But sometimes algorithms can actually make job quality worse by threatening worker autonomy, increasing the pace of work, or threatening worker mental and physical well-being. So we need to understand those impacts and again, maximize the opportunities and minimize the risks. But ultimately, we must also pay attention to the digital divide, both within and between countries, so that we can use AI and its benefits to address inequalities. Starting with differences across countries, we can see a clear divide about how AI is already being developed. It's really being led by some of the largest firms on the planet. And when we look at where patents are being registered, it's largely in the global north, and it's largely just a really small number of countries and a small number of firms. But we need to make sure that AI, as it's developed, is relevant in terms of language and culture across the world, but also that there are opportunities for countries in the global south to become leaders on AI. And we can do that with progressive, positive policies rather than leaving it up to chance. At the same time, we need to think about the global supply chain in AI. Sometimes people don't think about the global supply chain, but that global supply chain is largely human. There are 150 million jobs globally and people who are helping to train AI by labeling it, by doing content management, by doing the training of the machines. And a lot of those folks, these are new opportunities and it's job creation, which is fantastic. But if they're working at home under piece rates without protections in the workplace, then it's actually a challenge in terms of the worker's ability to have decent work with fair wages and working conditions, an opportunity for a voice, all of those things. Turning to deployment, once AI is in a more traditional workplace, that can also be used to enhance worker welfare and protections or the opposite. And again, it won't happen automatically and it won't happen evenly. There must be thoughtful policy and regulation about how to do it. So clearly, one of the things that's really important in making it work in the workplace is social dialogue. Communication and collective bargaining between workers and employers to set the stage, to create decent work, to make sure that the AI is being used to lift up health and welfare, that it's being used to reward workers who have the training that they need to work with artificial intelligence, and that it's not being used to undermine basic rights in the workplace, such as the right to freely associate, to form a union, to engage in collective bargaining. There's also a digital divide within countries, since access to technology raises questions about basic access to high-speed internet, to 24-hour access to electricity, just the real basics. There is also divisions by gender, skill, location within a country, and other factors such as disability status or refugee status. Can AI be used to help minimize inequalities between these groups, or will it exacerbate them? There is certainly some initial evidence that AI can actually reduce inequalities by particularly lifting up the less skilled, but we need to watch this aspect carefully, gather more data, and again, make sure there are thoughtful policies. Finally, I want to turn to the third dimension, which is overall policy and governance. As already indicated, the implications for the world of work are numerous and complex. And this indicates that a comprehensive approach might be needed to address very different policy and governance domains. I would like to highlight a few key issues for consideration. First, though expected job losses are likely to be less than you hear in the headlines, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't think about measures to keep people gainfully employed. In line with the ILO's recommendation on termination of employment, it's important to promote social dialogue and collective bargaining so that workers and employers together can talk about how to retrain workers and redeploy them without laying them off, but also plan for layoffs so that things don't come as a surprise. This is where government policies can also be important by having universal access to unemployment or other benefits to help workers tide themselves over as they're between jobs. Upgrading digital skills and promoting lifelong learning will be important because it's not one and done. There will be new skills and education needed throughout a worker's life. Secondly, with respect to use of AI in the workplace, appropriate safeguards, as I previously mentioned, are needed. Workers and employers should talk about red lines where AI perhaps should and should not be used, and talk about the ways that it can be employed. And this may require relevant government mechanisms and regulations as well, so that we are protecting existing norms and human rights in the workplace, and make sure that AI is not used, for example, to engage in discriminatory hiring or firing practices, or infringe upon those freedom of association rights. To find inclusive and sustainable solutions, this workplace consultation and collective bargaining should be prioritized in a flexible and responsive way to ensure that AI's integration follows mutually agreed upon guardrails and to improve working conditions. And finally, we need to think about that access to the digital infrastructure. How are governments working with the private sector to invest in high-speed internet, to invest in a reliable electricity grid, even in very rural areas and less densely populated areas? If we're going to leave no one behind, we need to be very thoughtful how to do this, again, within countries and across countries. Responding to these issues does require a human-centered approach, and there should always be a human in the loop when AI is involved in decision-making. Because in the end, it's still people who are making decisions because it's people who are affected by those decisions. This is critical given the fast changes that we are witnessing and the considerable uncertainty about the impact of AI on labor markets. So to set us on this path, the ILO is making a significant investment in expanding our research on artificial intelligence and other types of digital technologies in the workplace. And to improve the visibility of our research efforts and engage with our constituents, we will launch in early September an observatory on artificial intelligence and work in the digital economy. And this will help provide visibility to the issues, and we're hoping eventually a one-stop shop where constituents can look at not just our research, but other research on AI in the workplace and compare policies across so that we can provide that resource for all of our constituents. And starting in 2025 at next year's International Labor Conference, we will begin standard setting on work in the platform economy, which is just one aspect of artificial intelligence, where governments, workers' organizations, and employers' organizations will talk to each other about how to ensure decent work and protect fundamental labor rights while boosting a sustainable environment for new jobs in the platform economy. It's an exciting time, but also a challenging time. And I look forward to working together to ensure that AI can be a force for good and that it will translate into decent work and social justice for all. Terima kasih, and thanks very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ibu Celeste. Ladies and gentlemen, for the next session, we would like to invite you to hear the keynote speech from the Minister Airlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Republic of Indonesia, who unfortunately could not attend due to other commitment.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's discussion on the role of artificial intelligence and implication on the Indonesian labor market. In this wonderful and precious moment, I would like to thank Mrs. Celeste Drake, ILO Deputy Director-General, and Mrs. Simrin Singh, ILO Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization report on Global Innovation Index for 2022, Indonesia ranked 75 out of 130 countries. This achievement represents a 10-place improvement compared to 2020, which ranked Indonesia 85 in economic digital development, which is achieved through commitment in increasing the R&D. The development of AI in Indonesia is highly correlated with internet usage, with 213 million or more than 77% of Indonesian population reported to be internet user as of 2023. Additionally, the growth of startup utilizing technology to support business activities is notable. Due to automation, Indonesia will face the challenge of losing around 23 million jobs, while there will be approximately 3.45 million new job seekers each year, consisting of high school, vocational school, and university graduates. World Economic Forum, in its report of Future of Jobs, predict that 2045, 43% 3% of industry players will reduce their workforce as consequence of technological integration, and 70% of jobs will be automated by AI. Though this challenge must be upheld by the government, not all regarding AI is negative. Most jobs and industry are only part of exposed automation are more likely to complement rather than substitute by the latest of generative AI. Therefore, the greatest impact of AI is likely not to be job distractions, but also there is potential challenge for new quality job, notably work intensity and autonomy. Government of Indonesia acknowledged and prepared for these issues through several steps. One of them is the launch of National Strategy for Digital Economy Framework that consists of several pillars: infrastructure, human resource, business climate, cyber security, research, innovation, business development, funding, investment policy, and regulation. Regarding AI, the fourth pillar on research, innovation, and business development and its initiative will focus on to develop and regulate a better ecosystem regarding AI in Indonesia. The main focus of this pillar is to enhance economy and country research and development capabilities, especially toward accelerating Indonesia digital transformation. One of the initiatives undertaken by the government is building and launching innovation zone in several regions, focusing on futuristic technology such as artificial intelligence, data centers, and robotics. Last year, Indonesia also launched regulation regarding ethics on use of AI as starting point for usage AI in public sector. The government will continue to develop the best way and practice to balance between the pro and cons of AI. Ladies and gentlemen, let us embrace the AI potential to reshape our labor market for better while taking the potential risks. By aligning AI with the economic growth, we can create future where technology and human work together, driving progress and for the benefit of all Indonesian people to achieve prosperity for all Indonesians. We can build a labor market that is not only resilient but also adaptive, innovative, and inclusive. And the future of AI will enhance our economic landscape, create new job opportunity, and help us to achieve sustainable growth as well as continue the positive development. Thank you.
Over recent years, there have been rapid advances in digital technologies, including in artificial intelligence (AI), defined as ability of a computer or computer-controlled machine to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings, including problem solving and based on the learning process. As also witnessed during previous waves of technological changes, these fast developments have led to discussion and speculation on the likely impact on labor markets. Due to the application across many occupations and sectors, the effect of AI on jobs have potentially far-reaching implications from its net effect on the quantity of jobs, to the impact on labor regulation, to the management of the adaptation process. To contribute to the national debate, the ILO Office for Indonesia and Timor-Leste is organizing a dedicated panel discussion, stimulating the reflection on the Indonesia situation and taking stock to the latest developments. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the main event of today, the panel discussion. We would like to call our first panelist for today is Professor Anwar Sanusi, MBA, PhD, Secretary General of the Ministry of the Manpower, Republic of Indonesia. Previously occupying this position, Professor Anwar has served as, among other things, Secretary General of the Ministry of Villages and Development of Disadvantaged Regions and head of the Center for Public Service Innovation at the State Administration Institute. He obtained a bachelor degree from Gajah Mada University, a master's degree from Saitama University, and PhD at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies in Japan in 2003. Our second panelist will be Professor Warsito SSE DEA PhD, Deputy for Coordination of Education Quality Improvement and Religious Moderation of the Coordinating Ministry on Human Development and Culture, Republic of Indonesia. Pak Warsito is a full professor in physics instrumentation at the Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Science, University of Lampung, Indonesia. In 2014, he was as visiting professor at Auburn University in USA. Professor Warsito research interests are in the fields of physics modeling, instrumentation, sensor system, and data acquisition. Our third panelist is Mr. Ajar Edi, Director for Government Affairs at Microsoft Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam. Ajar Edi has more than 20 years of experience leading works across advocacy, compliance, strategic thinking, social impact, management, stakeholders engagement, strategic social investment, corporate communication, public relation, and journalism. Our last panelist will be Ms. Kurnia Sofia Rosiada, Group Head Enterprise Data Analytics, Bank Mandiri. Ibu Kurnia Sofia Rosiada has a diverse background in data analytics, marketing, business development, and engineering. She holds a master's degree in global innovation management from Technische Universität Hamburg, and the University of Strathclyde, complementing her bachelor degree in electrical engineering from Institut Teknologi Bandung. Ladies and gentlemen, for the moderator of our discussion, I would like to invite Ibu Simrin Singh, ILO Director for Country Office Indonesia and Timor-Leste.
Selamat pagi. Apa kabar?
Baik.
Good, very good. It's a real honor for me to be moderating this fantastic set of panelists, bringing in many different perspectives on this topic that definitely has us piqued in terms of our interest and a little bit scared, as Ibu Celeste said. We have already heard incredible opening speech covering so many dimensions in the world of work, as well as a fantastic keynote speech with very good data about where Indonesia stands, and also very good vision. A human-centered vision is what I heard from the Honorable Minister in terms of moving forward. Optimism is what I heard. So following on that, I think now we can take a bit of a deep dive into where we stand here in Indonesia. Let me just say also that this is the start of a conversation. We're not going to end this panel with all sorts of completely clear-cut recommendations, but we're going to start and highlight some key issues that are very essential for Indonesia to move fast, but also leave no one behind. So with that, I'll start. Is everyone okay? Safety and health is guaranteed. ILO forum. Yes. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Let's start with the private sector. We have two private sector, but with Microsoft, because you're a huge giant when it comes to AI around the world. And, I think we could all really benefit from hearing your view, your bird's eye view of where Indonesia stands, especially in terms of your investment as well, in terms of the rest of the world. So over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to join ILO event in Jakarta. Welcome, Deputy Regional ILO to Jakarta. We hope that you enjoy Jakarta and all the uniqueness of Jakarta. So, with these questions, I would like to address three things about what's AI economic opportunity for Indonesia, and then how Indonesia AI governance, and now Indonesia also in OECD transaction process. The third one about how Indonesia skilling readiness. So let's start with the first topic. I would like to share to you that there is a huge economic potential of AI in Indonesia. Big number. That's mean big opportunity for us in Indonesia. The number from several research I can mention about from Kearney, 366 billion USD until 2030. And another research from Access Partnership and ELSAM, it mentions 234.5 billion USD for to unlock productivity if we accelerating in using AI. Big numbers, once again, big opportunity. But before we move forward on that, I would like to mention several things. First, about some misconception about AI. People always say that, look, AI will take over all your jobs. The mean is just like the keynote mentions, there will be AI will change or transforms a type of works. I just would like to provide some detail about it. We conducted work index survey, Microsoft and LinkedIn, uh, just released last month. 31,000 respondents across 31 countries. One of them is Indonesia. And the number that I can share to you, there are 92% of workers already using AI. So that's big number, even bigger worldwide. Worldwide only 70%. And a uniqueness about these numbers that the workers bring their own devices. So there's an expectations that companies need to provide devices with AI to secure informations, to manage, to make sure that when you use AI, it is also protect company informations. That's a good number. It means Indonesia is learning about this kind of AI adoption. And I would like to address for the second things about AI governance. Just like Minister Airlangga mentions that actually Indonesia in the front row of AI governance adoption in Asia. The Minister of ICT launched circular letter of AI ethics. It is launched in December, and after that, ASEAN issued ASEAN AI guide on responsible AI and ethics. That means Indonesia also part of this governments around the world to issue regulations to ensure that AI use secure, safe, and trustworthy. So these three principles, mentioning that AI will be used in the proper way, in the secure, trust, to ensure that we harness the benefit of AI while managing the risk. So that's a good thing. And maybe last month, UNESCO and the government also issuing around readiness of measurement on AI. So this is another good sign from Indonesia that Indonesia part of this what we call it how AI would empower society and workforce and economy. The third one that I would like to share to you about number of productivity. Is it true that it is AI accelerating productivity, providing, or we call it increasing creativity and accelerating innovations? We use some tools. So there are two things actually I would like to share to you. First, generative AI that embedded to Microsoft products. It is MS Word, Excel, everything. If you use this Microsoft product, you will meet with Copilot. Why Copilot? We name it Copilot because AI is a tool. AI tools, AI not replacing, and you as a pilot, the one that determine what AI assessing or offering to you. There will be final judgment and it is should come from us as a human to answer to this responsible AI approach. The second thing about people can build their own copilot using our Azure AI technology. So some of our partners using our Azure OpenAI to create their own copilot. There are several enterprises, bank, they made virtual assistants to provide what we call it customer new experience using AI, seamless communications between virtual assistants and customers. They ask everything about bank products. There is Open University using generative AI to increase distant learning experience with the student. 60,000 students having new experience in learning and teaching process. And then the third one, I would like to share one thing, how combine IoT and generative AI. There is a North startup becoming unicorn e-fishery. They made Mas Ahya. Mas Ahya just like a persona, someone that you can communicate with AI. So I will back again a little bit. Last 2 years, people has new experience how they can communicate with generative AI. Because with large language model, me can communicate with computer just like I communicate with my coworker. I can request some summary, I can ask them to provide assistance, and then with the cloud computing, there is machine learning that provide a lot of assessment information and anything and make what we call it some product become connect and context and as what we requested. So for workers or people, we need to reskilling us how to communicate properly with the machine, with the computer. So sometimes it is in our mind, but we do not describe in detail. So please, if you communicate with chat or ChatGPT, generative AI, ensure you communicate simple, promptly, and to make sure you have the right response and answers. And a good thing about this Mas Ahya also providing tools that it is communicate in local language. So people, women, farmer, they can has opportunity to learn about how to fish, to make a good fishing pond using this persona AI, and they can improve their livelihood. So those are some benefit that we see, and of course, with big potential of AI, 366 billion, Indonesia could be one of the powerhouse AI economic in ASEAN. This once again an opportunity, economic opportunity. So our plan or idea as private sector, how we connect this massive AI data center infrastructures and potential economy. To connect these two dots is we need to have skilling readiness, workforce that ready for this AI. If Indonesia can connect these two things, economic opportunity and a lot of big company invest in Indonesia, so once again we can achieve those numbers, those economic, and we will be part of Indonesia journey. If Indonesia always said Indonesia must 2040, we hope we can join together in this good part journey to harness economic again. So that's from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Hajar. That was quite comprehensive and actually optimistic. I like this co-pilot idea. It's nice. Humans also bring a human center. I appreciate also the thinking that you brought forward in terms of mitigating the risks and leaving no one behind. But you also stimulated some important question, which I will actually address to the next panelist, Professor Wasito. He was talking about getting, the students ready, the learning experience. They're experimenting with 60,000, but what is the government's thinking in your role about our children in schools? Are we ready? to equip the young generation so that they will leave, and when they enter the labor market, they are absolutely ready to harness the potential, the positive potential of AI.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Simplin, and good morning, everyone. I think if we discuss about AI, it's very, very interesting subject. But we should, regarding our capacity, I mean that in the school level, or our students, that's our challenge. We should understand that Indonesia is a very large country. We have many quality of schools or universities. So this one point that I would like to highlight in this first paragraph, that we should have the real condition in front of us. We have still get quality of education. Yes, one point. And then, but in the other hand, we should appreciate that AI have the many opportunities. As we mentioned that Airlangga mentioned before, that we would like to be digital nation. That means in the government digital, society digital, and then economic digital. And we have five principal pillars that they have mentioned. He has mentioned. The first is regulation and policy. The second, controlling infrastructure, human resources, supporting technology, and research and development. So these are five pillars to be the nation, digital nation. Okay, I will come back to the how actually our students prepare their future job or their future education. Just for the background, that now we have more than 100 million students starting from elementary school until the senior high school. And we have also more than 9 million students in universities. And between them, in the, I mean that average length of schooling is still 8.77 years. It's still low in the level of a graduate, uh, the length of schooling. And then our higher education gross enrollment rate is still 31.5%. And you compare with another, our neighbor country, it's very low. It's still low. But also, in the other hand, artificial intelligence is very inevitable in our now, in our life now. So how actually the government will increase our strategy to the first is curriculum. This curriculum in the I mean that in the school. Just last year, we have known that our strategy to the curriculum is to demand side. It's not proposed by the university or maybe by school, but how actually the job market will conduct the curriculum strategy. Then the one point. And then the second, the curriculum developed by our Minister of Education and Culture about the freedom to learn curriculum Merdeka Belajar, we call Merdeka Belajar. That means that all our students have their own to prepare their future jobs or their future condition, and also how actually link and match with the industries. It's very. We are now how actually doing the all the school and university very linked and matched with the industries. It's not just big industry, but also in the small and medium industry. This is our the first point in the curriculum models. In the second, about the infrastructure, digital infrastructure. before digital infrastructure, we should understand how actually the capacity of our electricity in all around of the country. Just the number of the electricity. We have now more than 83,000 villages, and the percentage of the electricity, 95% of the all the villages in Indonesia. And then the programs of the Minister of Communication and Information, there are now 85% village that coverage by 4G network. This is our opportunities. So the possibility to do AI in the levels of school of level at the level of school, I think is very now is very I mean that needs to implement in the education level, the infrastructure. And then the third, the quality of teacher and trainers. And we need now how actually the upgrading or maybe reskilling our teacher, how face to face with the AI. About the ethics that we have just now, Mr. Airlangga has stated that about the ethics in the AI is very principle in our strategy in education level, because as we know now, we are in front of us, we can see problems. For example, how actually we don't have the background education, the background knowing about the AI, but suddenly we are in front of AI. So this one point that I would like to highlight the problem that we should uh, anticipate in this moment. And I could think continue about the how actually in the strategy of our government, especially regarding our national planning, NPCN, national strategy planning, about how our government really would like to increase the graduated from the university in the domain of scientific and then mathematics, engineering, and technology STEMs. Just information. Our maybe more than 60% of the university in Indonesia has the study programs in the exact domain subject. But until now, actually, the number of graduated in the exact department is still low if we compare with social science sciences. It's just my here my data. The graduated in the field of STEM in Indonesia university is are still low. It's just 18%. It's still low. If we compare with Malaysia, for example, 37%, and then Singapore 34.7, and India 31%. So this is our challenge. How actually the uh, our student, because sometimes the character of our generation is just like to do that. They would like just finish from the university, but they don't care with the future uh, opportunities about the AI or maybe informatics, computer science, scientific domain. This one of our problem if we it's not problem but our challenge how actually we do this position. And then the last that I would highlight about how actually the position of the AI as sciences or as a tools. Because this one, these two sides, if we regard, when if we are regarding the AI as the sciences, Just I mentioned before that our human resources is still low or medium if we compare with another country, because the Department of Informatics, Computer Science is still uh, low if we compare with the Social Sciences Department. And then the second thing, if we look from the side of the EI as the tools, we will in front with the ethic in our life now, that the crime in the AI and then in the cyber is more and more. Sometimes uh, more speed than our culture. This some I mean that challenges or also opportunities. This one. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I mean, I think you ended with some challenges, but you started with some actually good indications of how ready, in many respects, already the education system, how it's readying itself and the potential. I mean, those numbers of, the digital access and electricity and everything else are very encouraging. So, and also seems that there's good foresight in planning so that there's a demand-driven education going forward. Of course, still work to do, but I'm very pleased to hear that there is some foresight in planning. Let's switch to Ibu Nia, from the banking sector. We know that 98% of the country's economy and 60% of the GDP is generated by micro and small medium enterprises. So maybe those jobs, STEM is important, might not end up being STEM jobs as much as they would be entrepreneurship kind of development. And I know your bank has been working a lot with the financing enterprises. So with AI now, they keep saying financial services are being affected by AI, etc. I'd just like to see how your business model might have evolved already to be able to target this population and go hand in hand with the kind of demand that they would have for, starting enterprises that are not even defined anymore, that are innovating as they go ahead. So it will, yeah. Sure. Yeah. So in terms of the financial sectors, the AI implementation is obviously something that we have been invested for quite some times. For example, like in the sectors of the fraud prevention, the credit risk modelings, and then also for facial recognition and all that, we see that AI is something that would create and maybe accelerate a lot of business growth opportunity. For example, with the Gen AI, such as a coding assistant, it now made a lot faster for us to create the code for launching a new features. For example, it does reduce the time to market, for example. So it creates some of those opportunity. It would also enable us to provide more scalable way to do a personalized campaigns and offerings, creating a lot more content generations or key visuals that is relevant for each individuals. But in one hand as well, this is something that we also take it with a bit more cautious, like because you only have like a limited resources and time, right? So for us, the way we approach it is that we need to implement it in three main goals. The first one is, does it actually help to accelerate our business revenue? Second one is, does it help to increase our productivity or maybe like having an opportunity for saving some cost or faster time to market? And the third one is how us can manage the risk better. So it's quite important for us to really anchor the way we implement the AI according to those. And actually AI does help as well in how we can serve our customer better, because for micro and small medium enterprises, we use AI to build a propensity modeling to find out like who more likely to need loan and more likely for us to say yes to if we offer them a loan.
So it helped us in really boil down who are the right person for us. And not only that, it can also help a lot in the processing of the credit. So some of the manual tasks previously that maybe we need to matching the documents one by one now can be automated. So it does help in a faster way for us to serve our customers and including as well like for the call offerings chatbots. So it it is something that we believe as not necessarily a threat, but actually AI as a way to augment our workforce, to really how to empower our workforce, right? Because like it or not, AI is here. And it's really a matter of like whether you use it or you don't. But obviously, those who don't use AI might get actually be replaced by those who use AI. And honestly as well, like I mean, in the Gen AI era, for example, like I think on certain field it does level the playing field, right? Because for example, before, if you want to create like a product, you want to do a coding, you need to learn Python, you need to learn Java, and all that, right? But with AI, it might actually be using a natural language. It might actually be using an English language or even Bahasa later on, right? To create those prompts, to create those code. So it might actually be leveling the playing field. Now the question is like, how can we really equip our people so that we transform them, we embed them with the ability to do this, the reskilling, for example, faster, and really embrace the new era. So I think that might what we can also share. And I guess for micro and small medium enterprises as well, what we've seen is that with the access to so many AI tools on the market, there are a lot opportunity as well for them. So maybe in last few years, if you want to create, let's say, an online business, you need an editor, you need a photographer, you need the videographers, you maybe need the copywriters just to create an ads, for example, or manage your social media. But now with AI, you can just do it with one person or more, and then you can have them to really focus on like what are the more products, more access, more creativity. So I think that's really like increase the ability for the SME to launch their product, to launch their businesses on the market and really be upfront to reach more customers. So I guess yeah, that's maybe a bit of our take on AI.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibrian. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. And it's not because you're a woman, but really, what about, I mean, you've needed collateral to give loans and finance SMEs. And I mean, do you see this as a positive for women-owned SMEs to get better access? And maybe what steps might Bank Mandiri be taking to ensure that women are not left behind in this race going forward? 2 minutes, please. If you can. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so I think the way we approach of like what kind of a small businesses that we wanted to support really boiled down to their ability to grow their business and have a good repayment capability as well. So in this case, I think it I mean, gender wise is maybe something that is quite neutral on that regard, as long as like all the other traits are actually showing a good tendency or characteristic for loan acceptance. In terms of the maybe like women entrepreneurs, especially, yeah. I think maybe coming back to what I just explained before, it probably actually a bit leveling the playing field, right? Especially if before maybe like those photographers or those videographers, maybe more we tend to find more men to do that. But now with AI, like even women can do a prompt engineering to create those key visuals or contents, right? So and similarly as well when it comes to code, when it comes to say like create your own website or launching your own businesses to learn like maybe accounting or how to produce like a financial report, finding a way to maximize your businesses. Now it's make it a lot more easy. So I think it does actually, hopefully, it will provide more opportunity as well for women entrepreneurs as well, to level the playing fields and hopefully to help them in growing their businesses.
And access finance.
Yes,
All right.
and access
And
finance.
manage their finance. Okay. Thank you for that. Secretary, I'd like to ask you, you have a very complicated role in a way, a very challenging one. How do you regulate what is not something that has a history or we know how to regulate, especially when it comes from a manpower or woman power, lens. Uh, so this is what I wanted to ask you. What is the government, and especially under your leadership in the ministry, what are you thinking in terms of the world of work angle of the regulation of AI and people working and using AI? So over to you, Sec Jen, please.
Thank you very much, Shinrins. I think maybe because I'm the last person that would like to present for the first session. I think maybe it's make it made it easier, yeah, to explain because some already discussed by my previous panels. Yes, I think maybe first of all, I would like to say that artificial intelligence is something that we cannot avoid here. So there should it is a must, yeah. So we have to in now in the future. We almost maybe we will talk about how maybe artificial intelligence and then sometimes we try to confront with maybe the limit maybe it will replace by the person works as already explained very detailed by my colleague Pak Fajar, and then also in other sectors, maybe in education, and then also in financials, already talks by Pak Sito, and then also Ibu Nia. Yeah. So that's why if we talk about like in employment issue, employment policy, we have to cover everything, every issue in every issue that we consider artificial intelligence is like a tool, is something that's empowering, enabling the system. It will be much better, faster, of course, maybe cheaper. So that's why maybe in terms of like the manpowers or maybe it's employment. I'm so sorry, Sindrins. Maybe the translation in English is not proper. Yeah, yeah. We are Ministry of Manpower, but our leader is a women. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think if we're talking about the issue of employment, we are starting from the preparing us as a good human resources. In order to prepare, so we have to provide them with a better education and vocational, yeah, education on our vocational training. I think it is maybe we have to identify which kind of skill first of all that really need in now and the future. As we already know, according like what economic forum and then also the today mentioned by Airlangga, by using of artificial intelligence, it will be maybe deletes. Yeah, it will be there are about maybe 25 million work will be disappear. Meanwhile, more than 30 millions works will appear. So like in this situation, we have to identify which kind of skill that are really needed. So we already identified some, for instance, some skill that are really needed. For instance, is the ability about maybe strategic management and maybe knowledge, knowing about artificial intelligence and then the decision making. And that's maybe or even like mental health, yeah. So we have in order to provide with a good person, with a good human resource in understanding about the skill. So we have to provide with a better vocational training. And then second, maybe after some if we are talking about employment issue, is talking about the rights and duties of employment, about the wage, about the salary, about the minimum wage, etc., about maybe social protection. Something that social protection is a little changing. In the previous, if we maybe talk about social protection, only the people who are working on maybe on the factory. But now we already know that the employees no need to come to the office. They just come and they just stay at home, and that's everything based on the output, based on the product. And in this situation, maybe people don't thinking about like maybe if something happened with him, should protect by social protection. So this is why we when Indonesia to be G20 presidency, we already talked about the about it's like a new social protection for the employee. And that also that consider about the people who are working on maybe on the distance. And then also the issue for like industrialization. In the previous, we are only thinking the relation between employee and then employer. And nowadays, it's no longer anymore. And there are a lot of kinds of maybe a contract. That's like is now is still under discussion about the people, how the people who are working based on like the digital platform. And that's extra. So I think maybe the because the issue regarding of employment is very wide. So we are thinking that's no one size fit all policy. So we have to think a lot of maybe a kind policy that everything based on the based on the data, based on the factual. So research based policy should be something that we cannot avoid. So that's why maybe no, and then in the future, it is very the big challenges, and one of the big challenges, one from the Ministry of Manpower is one is to provide this better vocational training, and then second is this divine good regulation that covers with a lot of new issue, and then the third is maybe, of course, maybe to make sure that in terms of social protection, it will be maybe it will be more fair to anyone that's working, either maybe they're working on spot, or maybe they're working from the distance. That's all. Maybe we are thinking about the real person. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sekjan. I think it is really very exciting to hear that you are also really looking at how platform economy workers, particularly, can be protected. Their rights can be protected and can maximize. While at the same time, as Ibu Celeste have said, this issue of social protection, and for those that will lose jobs for a while before they're reskilled, upskilled, retrained, whatever, at that point in time, that they have a safety net, so they don't fall off and they aren't left way behind as a result. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to invite my colleague Diego here, just so that there's a little change of scenery here to do the second round of questions, and so that I can actually be watching. So over to my, he's just to say that Diego has been critical in planning together with many other ILO colleagues here this forum today. So I think it's only best that he can ask the next round. There you go.
Great, great. We were looking for a virtual moderator, but not available. So let me Great. So I'll just take over with the quick second round. A lot of interesting insights and suggestions. I wanted to start with Professor Sanusi. We spoke about social protection of the future, evidence-based policy making. We don't know yet, but if you were to suggest a way forward, and especially with respect to the social dialogue component, we need social dialogue, but this is a new aspect. How do we embed social dialogue in regulation for AI employer employee relationship? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Diego, sorry, I think it's Rodrigo Diego. Diego Maradona. Yeah. Diego, thank you very much for your question. It's very interesting. Social dialogue, I think all of us are agree. This is the way how to reach a conclusion with maybe which how to say is knowing all the people, all maybe the stakeholders' opinions regarding to the one issue. But of course, maybe in the in the world that's maybe the role of AI, artificial intelligence, is very wide. So I think maybe we have to look for many ways, many methods in how to make that social dialogue exist. I think maybe nowadays is very we living maybe on the very easy way. And like every day, like in my office here, we always we identify what maybe the most maybe is the most the current issue, and that's maybe is the maybe the strongest issue that all the people talk about on certain issue in employment. So maybe from this we can understood that people actually need such a, for instance, if we may be giving some issue, for instance, like in terms of like a payment or minimum wage, yeah, or maybe now is talking about like the freedom to create labor unions. I think maybe while we asking the people like this, a lot of ideas, a lot of opinions maybe appears. This is very good, yeah. No need for us again maybe to spend, yeah, more time just maybe come to one place to another place. Of course, maybe if we understood the background, the education background and then social background in Indonesia, we still need to come on the spot, to come on the field, and then they asking what the people opinions. But by like the massification of AI utilization, it creates that social dialogue. It can be maybe more too much wider. However, as maybe we already know, that people also asking like the value of participation. That we call it as meaningful participation. So we have to maybe identify. We have to try our best. We make it our best effort to invite maybe who is maybe represent from the each stakeholders. Otherwise, maybe sometime in the future, like in the last debate about efficiency and effectiveness. Sometime in order to reach the effectiveness is not efficient. However, it's just maybe for maybe in order to get the efficiency, the efficient is not effective. We have to make it a balance. Thank you. Sorry, Dave.
It was a lot, but no, thank you for the, I think, confirmation of the leitmotif. We have even in social dialogue and how to structure it. We have opportunities and we have some challenges, and we need to think smartly about how to address those. Ibu Konya, I wanted to touch upon something very specific, which is how you discuss about how AI affects your business model. will it affect the quantity of credit or of financial services available to micro, small, and medium enterprises? We are interested in that as ILO. We want to support the job creation, and in this country, small and medium enterprises play the lion's share. What can you tell us about that?
Sure. So I think, as any kind of businesses, obviously we want to grow. And we see as well that there is a strong interest as well in like providing a financial access to micro and small medium enterprises, especially as Indonesia's economy majority are actually driven by informal sectors. So it's quite important to help these entrepreneurs to grow. And with the use of AI, it actually helped us in several aspects. For example, in terms of finding out or creating the propensity modeling to find out the right persons to be provided the loan access. That previously maybe we need to do it a bit manual, but with use of AI, then we can analyze like hundred of factors and boil down to which one would likely to say yes if we offer a loan. So it does help us in increasing our accuracy. Second one with AI as well, it does help in providing more scalability as well as faster processing time. Because with the digitalizations as well as AI, then we can use a chatbot, for example. We can use our digital platforms to reach out to relevant users that or relevant MSME and SMEs to offer them with the loan that we want. And another thing also, it helps us as well in managing the risk because then we can create, let's say, like the early warning or kind of like reminders. So those are some examples of like how does AI actually can help in providing or scaling the financial access to MSME. But not only that, actually, we also provide small merchants or merchants with one of our platform, which is we call it Living Merchant. So with those platforms, the merchants or small medium enterprises can use and adopt more QR, adopt a cashless behavior. We made it seamless in terms of the onboarding, 3 times settlements, and also like MDR of 0%. So those are some example that in terms of the services and products that we offer, not just on the loan access, but also like how they manage the business, how they manage and grow their businesses, can be made more smooth or easier with the usage of AI.
Thank you. Thank you for these concrete and real life examples. Professor Marcito, you touch upon many topics as well, the infrastructure, the teachers, the new students, the current students. What about the current workers? They probably will need to be reskilled, upskilled. They will need lifelong learning. What can we do? What are we going to do for them? Okay, thank you. But that's, I remember last year that I uh, joined with the seminars that Minister of Education and Culture invite the uh, Sun Earthman, the CEO of ChatGPT. And I remember that how he was very surprised with our young generation of Indonesian young generation that they have very attractive to understand AI, etc. And then how actually the education will adopt, uh, adopt the strategy for the AI that's now currently in the job market. The first is our strategy. We have the upskilling and skilling our worker. We have the center of training, job training, private and public sectors. And then the second, we have collaboration with the industries. And directly, we have I mean that training directly in the industries. So how actually the increasing, the developing of the technology in the industry will be in the same time improve the quality of our workers. I come back with the highlight of the Mrs. Celeste just now in the previous. There are four characters: quality, nature, and then policy. So our minister will improve how actually our student and also our job seeker will adapt with the four uh, problem that's now in front of us about the AI technology. And then the other hand, that we have in the education strategy, we are now the very supporting to the scholarship in the subject of EI, the priority of scholarship, informatics, computer science, and then EI. And then the second, the new study programs in the university. Actually, there is moratorium and then stop it to open the new study programs, but in this subject of computer science, intelligent artificial, informatics, data sciences is still open to new study programs. So there's the strategy in the level of the students level, but in the workers is upskilling and reskilling in the industry and also in the job training, private or maybe public job training center. This and also we have many kind of type of training. So I mean that in online training and then directly in the industry, etc. This we have a collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce and industry. So there are many industries now that they have the adapted with this strategy of increasing the capacity of workers to be have the high productivity in the job market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we work on demand-oriented education supply, collaboration with private sector, and new curricula on offer. Great. And speaking about collaboration with private sector, I will conclude this session with Bakadi. Uh, we heard in the recent months about Microsoft investment in Southeast Asia on AI and art. Can you share a bit more about what are your plans for Indonesia in the next future?
Okay, thank you so much, Mas Diego. Mas Diego. So, yes, on April, 30 April, our CEO and Chairman, Satya Nadella, visited Jakarta. And then we made our announcements in terms of 1.7 billion USD for new cloud data center and AI infrastructures. And then another critical part of this investment about skilling. So we also announced that we will skilling 840,000 people in terms of cybersecurity, data, AI, and of course some digital skilling and additional 10,000 species specifically for AI ODC. So those prove our reiterate our commitment to be part of Indonesia journey for Indonesia Mas 2040. And just would like to add on that, last year until June, we collaborated with Koordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs and Prakerja and other related government agencies, including Ministry of Manpower. And during 1 year, we skilled more than 500,000 participants for skills for job. So another skilling activity also including cybersecurity for women and universities, polytechnic, vocational school in tier 3 areas. So that's part of our commitment that AI should be harnessed or what we call it, empower not only people within tier A cities, but also tier C or tier 3, and maybe because of some lack of others infrastructure, do not have opportunity for this kind type of skilling. So we partnering with several government agencies, including civil society. So, but before I continue on that, I would like to add additional information about our work index survey. There is a new fact that I think it is interesting on the rise of AI power use. What's the journey of people with AI? There is a four type of journey. First people will be skeptics. This is first people will be skeptic. And then the second thing, because they just would like to know what is AI, and then is it good or this skeptic phase. The second phase is novices. So how now they're spending time with AI, trying to be familiar, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. And then the third phase is explorers. Now workforce become spending more than time to explore what's the benefit of AI, what's they can get skilling, how they can get this skilling to equip themselves for this journey. And then the last phase, it is power users. When you are familiar with AI, then you can use AI to be part of workforce capability, skilling, to support not only yourself, but your companies and society at large. This is new fact that people will change their phases and journey based on skilling, of course, knowing first, and then novices, explores, and using it as power users. So this kind of journey, I believe, if we would like to be part of CI, believe government, Prof. Sanusi, Prof. Spasita also mentioned government like has a lot of programs for skilling and reskilling. But one principal thing that I would like to address about your own growth mindset, if you are not willing to learn, so you will be left behind. So how we still eager to learn more and part of the growth mindset. Of course, this is new thing. New thing, but if you will be part of this journey, I would like to suggest please eager to be part of growth mindset or listening to capture this AI journey. Because AI journey, I think this is we have similar start in Indonesia, in other countries because it is just launched last year. So if you would like to be part of this AI technology, not for only for now or future, so let's still using our principle to be growth mindset and would like to learn to reskilling and upskilling. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pak Adi. The lesson learned is the growth mindset we need to all have. It's not the only lesson. We heard many insights, many interesting points from Miss Celeste to Mr. Airlangga, to all of you. Before concluding this panel and this morning's discussion, I wanted to give the floor to for a couple of final reflections to our social partners. Park Correction Cinema will start sharing the trade union views on this whole conversation. Thank you very much, Park.
So I have 30 minutes then.
Divided by 10.
Okay. Thank you, moderator, people, panelists, and hi to everyone. So I just want to make three observations. First, from the panelists, I capture that we are in between uh, more the panelists going to optimistic than business. The problem what they is our optimistic because we don't have the document, we don't have the national strategy on application or I only based on everybody assumption. Like Enco and Queen says we will have 35 million job, then 30 lost. So we are happy then. So let's go to AI, no problem. And of course, I agree to the about need to approach the education system also changing about the because of employment vision. So this is fast moving situation. We cannot have policy when the artificial intelligence is moving faster than we adapt. That's why they very important to have like deputy said social dialogue. Because from the strategy, we want to know what the national strategy of the government for AI. We agree or not? We don't know yet. Because everybody have their own scenario. But what is national strategy? There are two we have to adapt. Education system and then also the employment system. Even I want to challenge now, is it the industrial policy, current industrial policy we have now, is still relevant? Because worker is doesn't mean those somebody who they pay, get the job and then pay same wages. Workers now even Indonesia system, one person can establish the company, so he can go one time your company and you are workers, employer then employee. And also like Pastor Rosi said, macroeconomy, whether you are really employer, whether you are worker. So let's talk about to changing employment policy, industrial policy. All we are dealing now is we get inherited from the 21st century. Now we are in the 21st century, 21, the 21st century. So many our legislation or system is not relevant to dealing with now, especially about employment. That's why we really want to be part of the negotiation. Yeah. Because there's some pessimistic is also come from the labor side. For instance, about how to cover social equality to all workers. Because now still 47% workers cover by social security. The rest uncovered. And then Indonesia policy labor policy, do we still keep that on that? Because it's make Indonesia vulnerable to the international stock market. Like, for instance, the lead growth policy, the export lead growth policy. So every time there is stock international, the Indonesian market and labor market will be also big problem. You still have to keep on that policy. So this is my last statement. Let's make to adopt national strategy on the AI and make sure we are a part of the team because we want to submit our legal guide and legal. Thank you.
Dr. Exum, thanks for your views, which I wouldn't call pessimistic, maybe realistic. It's a better word. New social protection. Right. Indeed, Ipusinta Vijaya from Apindo. I'll give you the floor last but certainly not least to share your reflections.
Thank you very much. I think a lot has been said about AI today, and I think it's a lot of the positive side also has been mentioned today, and what are the opportunities of AI. But we all know that there are challenges, and Rexon has also mentioned a few. But let me just end with the dynamics of how AI really can solve to the labor market. I think the introduction of AI has definitely altered the Indonesia labor dynamics. And I always mention when we talk about Indonesia is we need to understand what's happening globally. How can Indonesia be then take the opportunity part of it? We always mention that the importance of the digitalization is the we call it the equality aspect, because as we see there is still a big gap between developed and developing countries. And I think this is the first point that I want to make in whatever form we say is that of course we embrace AI, we embrace digitalization, but we have to also understand that where we stand there is still a big gap. And when we talk about AI, we have to also talk about what are the necessity of taking advantage of this digitalization in AI. And I have to say that infrastructure plays a big role. And this is why the decreasing gap is still definitely there. Country like Indonesia definitely still face challenges in that respect. So when we see on the equality aspect, we need to understand the gap between emerging and economies and advanced economies. We need to understand between the big businesses and small medium enterprises like what you mentioned. So this needs to be addressed because at the end of the day it has to be able to be accessed by all. And the third component that obviously needs to be reflected is also the inclusivity aspect. I always have to say that, as you know, at the moment, gender disparity is still there as far as digital literacy is concerned. So let's not even go further to AI, but even access to digitalization for women, gender is still not really there. So I think we talk about even from the education side from STEM, but that's definitely we have to address gender. We need to increase the digital literacy for women in order to be able to access that. So that's the inclusivity aspect. Now, the last thing that my reflection will go is that as countries like Indonesia, with all the components of all the different stakeholders come in, I completely agree. Government plays a role in putting the right regulatory framework. I think regulation is an important part, but we also, I want to say that three important aspect is how we each can play in bringing and embracing AI into our own sphere. So I think we talk about education, we talk about training, but we talk about also how the labor dynamics will brace into AI. And I think I wanna just close with three additional aspects that I think is important for us to understand is how can ensure the sustainable job creation to drive future employment needs. The second is aligning again the education and skill with workforce productivity, addressing the skill gap while advocating for lifelong learning. And the third is fostering strategic community engagement. I think this is something that is very important, ensuring educational institutions match the industry needs. And I cannot forget this because, of course, this is something that's important, is the reinforcement of the social protection and safety nets for individuals affected by technological transformation. So that's the reflection for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will not even attempt to summarize. Was a lot of important and relevant points. Some of them not new, but the the inclusivity. I would like to touch upon that. With Indonesia, we are speaking about gender issues, but not only. Many people left behind, people with disability, people living in remote areas, remote islands, etc. This was very interesting. Let me invite you to clap your hands for our panelists. Thank you very much all for coming. As Director Singh said, this is the beginning. Maybe not the beginning. A lot is happening already. We want to support as UN, as ILO, with many aspects of what was said. It's unknown with many respects. New social security. We also got some concrete suggestions. Bakari said a new skill we need, how to communicate with computers. This is a concrete suggestion we bring out of today. Reshape our curriculum. And taking it from there, I invite you to join us for refreshment. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you very much, Pak Diego and all panelists. I would like to request all panelists to be staying on stage, and we would like to call Pak Rexon and Ibu Sinta also to join. We are going to have a photo session. Shall we do it on the stage or down on the stage? Yeah, is that the stage? Okay. We will have a photo session with all the panelists and Ibu Sinta and Pak Rexon. And then after this, we would like to request okay. Sudah? Okay. We would like to request Pak Diego to kindly give this as a token of appreciation from the ILO to all panelists and reflection. To have been participating in the ILO Forum Artificial Intelligence and Implications on the Indonesia Labor Market Forum today. So this is just a small token of appreciation from the ILO to all panelists for today's event. Yes. Terima kasih banyak Pak Warsito, Ibu Sinta, and now itu Pak Sekjen, Pak Anwar Sanusi. Iya, ke Pak Ajar Edi dari Microsoft. Kepada Ibu Nia dari Bank Mandiri. Dan terakhir kepada Pak Rexon, kami sampaikan banyak-banyak terima kasih kepada Bapak Ibu yang sudah bersedia menjadi panelis di acara ILO Forum pada hari ini. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have now concluded our event for today. On behalf of the whole committee, we would like to thank you for your attendance and participation in this forum, Artificial Intelligence and the Indonesian Labor Market. Thank you. We wish you have a good day and hoping we will meet in the next.
Bapak Ibu, para hadirin yang kami hormati, silakan menikmati makan siang yang telah kami siapkan di sana sini restoran. We would like to kindly invite you for our lunch at Sana Sini Restaurant.